Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon McDonald, and this is Political Shenanigans. I usually don't like reporting on shootings like this because I don't like to give the shooter or anybody involved with the crime any publicity or notoriety, which is usually, from evidence of past shootings, a motive for their actions. I honestly don't care what any of the shooter's politics are. I don't care if he had a manifesto. I simply stand by the fact that a person that would willingly go shoot innocent people is in some way mentally unstable. Who can only be stopped by good people or law enforcement. What really upsets me about these things is that, and a reason why I didn't speak out about this until now, is that I hate how whenever these things happen in our society, before the lost lives and people who were shot and killed, before their bodies even get laid to rest and in the dirt, people are already using what happened to them as a political talking point for their agendas. We'll get on to that later. I hate how people use these situations for trying to de-arm people, which is really stupid. And instead of talking about how the shooter killed so many defenseless, unarmed people, we should be talking about the guy who was armed at the mall nearby and who took the kids to safety. Could also be talking about how here in Springfield, Missouri, there was a guy who was all armed up with, a vest and, his rifle and all that, and he was going to walk into Walmart with it. They say, there's speculation that it was just a public, experiment to see if Walmart will stand by his rights to bear arms. He said he wasn't trying to hurt anybody. But that person was held at gunpoint by a good civilian who was armed, obviously. We don't really talk about these things. We don't talk about the many mass shootings and mass killing sprees at schools and stuff that get eliminated. The threat is eliminated by someone who is armed. We never hear about those. We only hear about the tragedies and the carnage, because that's what gun control activists want us to focus on for their political agendas. If France taught us anything, is that guns aren't really the problem, because if we all can remember, the evening of July 14th in 2016, a cargo truck was deliberately driven into crowds of people celebrating can't pronounce it, Bastille Day? I don't know. Really bad with French stuff. My French teacher's mad at me right now. They're having a celebration in France, and this cargo truck was deliberately driven into crowds of people. This sick person saw their opportunity and created carnage. It resulted in the death of 86 people and the injury of 558 others. And this year, London's England's knifing deaths surpassed New York City's gun crime rates, and care little for criminals and mentally defected people care little for bans, laws, rules, or morality at all. The only thing that they care about is the act that they're committing and that they're set to try to commit. I'm a responsible gun owner. I handle my weapons with safety and care and with knowledge and understanding and realizing who is around me and making sure that my child doesn't get a hold of it and that it is used for defensive purposes only. And I believe my right to self-defend is as important as any other right afforded to us in the Constitution. As a matter of fact, in the Second Amendment, it keeps those in power from abusing our other rights, like freedom of speech, religion, due process, etc. You can't have the first without the second, and you can't have any of the other ones without the second. America was founded as a gun country, and sure, our guns have developed. The principle hasn't changed. We need to be able to defend ourselves from our government, who can and probably will become corrupt, as we've seen in the past. Our guns is what kept the Japanese from invading our mainland back in the day. Today's time, the threat of socialism and its inevitable failure, we need protection more than ever. Yet progressive leftist politicians are working hard to take your guns away. And not just AR-15s. They aren't stupid. They know handguns are used to kill more than assault rifles are. But they need a foot in the door of total gun confiscation. And this is their goal, because an unarmed population is easier to control and manipulate. And what better to start that off with by banning the scariest gun first. And if you don't believe me, check out what's trending on Newsweek.com. I'll have a pop-up or a link in the description below. There are calls for gun control after every shooting. Every time defenseless people are gunned down by some nut job, think to yourself, don't be defenseless. Walmarts are gun-free zones. Well, some. I have been to some that don't have the signs on the front door saying that weapons aren't allowed. But there are some, and in places like St. Louis, where gun control is tight. So as a responsible gun owner, I lock my gun up in my car before I go inside anywhere. And I can't help but think, what the hell good is my gun in the car when some crazy, demented sicko walks through the front doors of Walmart, guns ablazing? I can't do anything to defend myself if my gun's out in my tiny little freaking car. It's just annoying. It's annoying. It's very worrisome. Being in gun-free zones is probably the ironically most dangerous place to be. And that's what people don't understand. They make these gun-free zones saying it's so much safer when there's no guns around. So much safer. But have you ever noticed any of the multiple schools that have like a rifle team? They don't have... There's never been a school shooting at any of them. because no one's gonna go guns a-blazing in a school that has a rifling team, you know. They're not gonna, no, it's just not gonna happen. And I know that some people don't buy into the good guy with a gun myth, but it's not a myth. It's a reality. Guns aren't evil. People are. And guns aren't good. People are. And guns are just a tool, just like a knife, just like a truck, just like anything else you could use to create carnage, okay? It's all about the person and the individual. But now I'd like to talk about the 5 facts that gun control activists fucking hate. You can bleep that out. Number 1, 92% of mass shootings since 92% of mass shootings since 2009 occurred in gun-free zones. I'm doing this because they're not very gun-free once a bad person comes along with a gun, and then you have to call the good guys with the guns to come help out. Reason number 2, a 2013 U.S. Department of Justice study found that gun violence had fallen by nearly 50% since its 1993 peak. That's something that people don't understand. They're not grasping. And even right now, people might say that 2013 is pretty far back stretch. So that study is probably not relevant in today's age. But I will go ahead and say that the U.S. is by no means leading the world in carbon emissions. I know it has nothing to do with this, but I'm just throw that in there to piss off the snowflakes. We are no way leading the world in gun violence. It's just plain motherfucking facts. In no freaking way. Reason number 3. The so-called gun show loophole is a myth. It does not exist. There are no loopholes in the federal law that specifically exempts gun show transactions from any other laws normally applied to gun sales. Not one. Okay? Not one. And number 4. Guns are used 2.5 million times a year in self-defense in the U.S. of A. If you don't believe me, you can find that in the link down below, or I'll have it popped up on the screen for you. Do a little research. Reason number 5. The following countries enact gun bans before committing genocide in the 20th century. Let's see. Turkey, Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, China, Guatemala, Cambodia, but examples for you. If that doesn't make you a little worried about our government or people trying to take our guns away, I don't know what will. The first step to taking over a society is by rendering them defenseless. But, once again, my name is Shannon McDonald, and thank you for watching another video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to get updates for every time I upload a video. God bless America, and see you next time.